Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate everyone coming out today to be part of this and allowing me to share some information with you. First of all, I would like to thank the Chamber along with the YMCA that hosts this event that really lets us get some good information, I think, out to everyone, and hopefully we got a good report for you this year. A lot's went on in 2016, as you know. We've seen some projects started, some projects finished up, and all these things that go on, believe me, there's a lot of people that have been involved in these, worked very hard at it, and I would like to introduce just a few people here today that represent everyone here. That's a very large part of what we do in the city. First of all, our city council members that are here today, I believe Angie Modison's here, Angie, along with Steve Bell, and I think Shane Litz is here. And I want to thank them for all the help that they do in helping us succeed in a lot of these projects. Also, a very important commission that we have that's sometimes overlooked is our Clay County Redevelopment Commission. Without them and the partnerships that we've formed, you wouldn't see a lot of this street paving going on. They're that integral in making that happen. I think I see Tom Ames here today as the president of the Clay County Redevelopment Commission, which, by the way, they act on behalf of the city of Brazil also. We've had a great relationship with our county government, you know, with the commissioners along with county council, and I think everybody sees with working together on a lot of these projects what we can accomplish. I don't want to forget Fred Nevels is here today too. He's part of the Clay County Redevelopment Commission. Is anyone here off that commission that I've missed? But honestly, folks, they are very integral in a lot of things we've done. Clay County Commissioners, Jim Bowman's here with us today. Thank you, Jim. Along with County Council members, Tony Carter. Is anyone else here from County Council? Jackie? Okay, thanks, Jackie. I couldn't see you back there, but we have a great relationship with all the elected officials around here, which allows us to prosper. I'd like to use this time to give you a little bit of a snapshot on what's happened in Brazil in 2016, and I departmentalize it so we can see a few things that typically you don't see happening. Obviously, the 40 project, we're seeing it come to a close. There's still some buttoning up to do there, without a doubt, but it looks like most everything inside the curbs are done, the roads are open, and it's awesome looking. I think when you go down through town now, if you remember what it looked like and what you see now, it's phenomenal. I know it was a lot of stress on our community, along with the business owners, but everyone was very patient in letting that happen. And I was talking to someone earlier about this US 40 project. What you want to bear in mind is the state seeing the value in our community. They don't go invest over $20 million just everywhere in the state of Indiana. So bear that in mind when you think about here in Brazil. They're like a lot of other even agencies or people, they will not invest a lot of money unless they see value in that investment. And fortunately for us, it's here. So that's great to see that happen. It's good to see some things that I missed after the 40 project. You know, something I was always used to seeing was that eagle on the northwest corners, 40 and 59. It's glad to see that back up in place. The Clay County Historical Society done a phenomenal job on the park that they made there that's just west of that on the north side of 59. If you haven't seen it, stop by and visit that real quick. I mean, it's a beautiful little park area they've made there that's really great. There's some great things that's went on in 16. Main Street. We want to mention that group there. We had a US 40 festival that was held on Main Street. And for those of you who didn't attend, I would certainly make sure you can attend next year. It was very successful. And part of that reason is we had a nice venue to make that happen. That's the first time there's been a US 40 festival in this city for almost 100 years. So hats off to them and everything they do. They're an important part. If you don't have a Main Street established group in your city, it's very difficult to get grants and things of that nature. So there again, they are very, very important. We also celebrated Brazil's 150th anniversary. Had a fun day over at the park. Recognized all the businesses and the industry that's been here for quite some time. We had a bean dinner, and it was a lot of fun. I think people enjoyed that. Grants and projects that we got going on. The blight elimination program, you've heard a lot about that. That should be coming to a close in 2017, along with the FEMA flood buyout program. We just did finish up on closing out on some homes in that area, so we should be closing that one out. Our downtown revitalization planning grant, that's been done at this point, so we can move forward with that. And we did see, as most of you probably seen in the news, is the Okra water grant. A lot of that grant money is one that's going to help refurbish some large lines, fire hydrants, and update some systems at the water treatment plant. And it was in excess of $400,000, so we was really glad to get that one. It was a grant through Okra through their drinking water program. Also, the NDOT Community Crossroads. That particular grant was one that we received, which was $605,000. It was a match to what we had in the LOIT money that we received back from the state. So with that, that's going to give us about $1.2 million to spend on more street repaving this spring. So it's much needed. That's a program we want to see continue. And I'll give you a little more information on that as we go along. I do want to congratulate Lynn's Pharmacy on receiving an Okra Historic Renovation Grant. That was pretty neat, and the neat thing about that, we're going up Thursday at the State House. They're going to award these grants. It just goes to show you those things are out there, and they're out there for local businesses. Lynn's, I think, is a catalyst that we can use to see how they went about getting that, and really hats off to them, congratulations, and I think you'll see some remodeling of storefronts down there with that. So moving forward, we'll go to a few reports here. Our Brazil Fire Department, under the guide of Chief Bennett, which is here with us today, a few things I want to mention. They've updated their vehicle extraction equipment for 2016. They now have, it's a 28-volt lithium battery extraction spreaders, as you may have heard of as the Jaws of Life. So they have that available now. In 2016, the firefighters visited local schools and approximately reaching between 500 and 600 preschool and elementary kids for basically with fire and safety prevention programs. They do a great job of that. They really connect with the kids in the community, and that's great to see. The fire department responded to 856 incidents in 2016. And we've also, our fire department, I think it got overlooked, has always had a smoke detector program in place for quite some time. It's through a grant through Walmart. But also the Red Cross had contacted us, and they want to take it a step farther, where they furnish fire alarms for homes. And our fire department's been out doing those. They install them. There's no charge on any of this. So it's a free installation for anyone that wants to take participation in it. We went out and tried to work at quadrants of Brazil and putting up door knockers. We go hang them on the doors, gives them a number to call if you want fire smoke alarms in your house. Then we'll schedule them to come in and do that. Our goal in the city, in that particular regard, is to basically knock on every door in this city. And we'll get that done. We want everybody to know firsthand that they have this available to you and there's no charge to it. And our fire department is a lead vehicle in order to do that, and we appreciate it. Our police department Call-wise, we responded to 6,379 calls for service. And remember, those are calls that we had. That's not counting just routine stops and things of that nature. That's actually dispatch calls. So these guys are very busy. They got quite a task there, and they do a good job. Our combined dispatch center completed its first year. That's got streamlined somewhat, and there again, that seems to be working out where it's to everybody's benefit. We're going to appoint another detective from the active patrol officers, and we're also adding in 2017 another full-time officer that will bring our staff to 14 officers. So we're working on shoring up those numbers in that position, because like I say, these guys got a lot on their plate and they do a great job. Under planning and zoning, a lot of that had to do with the grants. That particular office handles a lot of working on these grants that I mentioned prior to it, the FEMA flood buyout, the BEP program, most all those things, they run through that office, along with permitting and things of that nature. The planning and zoning, they took care of handling that community crossings matching grant that we got. So that's an office that really wears a lot of different hats. A lot of people think it's just about issuing building permits and things of that nature, but it's not. There's a lot more to it than that, or we require that individual to, it's pretty big shoes to fill there. It's a lot of responsibility. In planning and zoning, we are going to keep working on this blight elimination. Although the state program has basically shut down as far as grant money, that don't mean we are. I think it's important that we continue this blight elimination, but we'll find ways to fund it through the city, the cleanups and things like that, to make our neighborhoods more attractive. And by the way, I should introduce, we have a new planning and zoning administrator, and I should introduce Janet McClellan. She's here today with us too, so you'll be seeing Janet around taking care of that. In our utilities department, we had a pretty large project last year go on out here east of town that really kind of went unseen, and that had to do with our 18-inch water main. What had happened out there, you know, our wells are out in the Reelsville bottoms is what I refer to it as, and our line runs along the side of 40, and there's a, as us Hoosiers say, a creek that runs adjacent to it, and over the time had eroded and washed out and exposed a lot of that line. And it was just discovered. That's probably been that way for years. So when we see something like that, we had about 400 feet of line exposed. So the IDEM, DNR, and NDOT was all contacted, and we got together and came up with a fix for it. And basically, we done some other line boring and replaced part of that line, about 300 feet, that goes underneath the waterway now and is bored in, but all that exposed line was remedied and fixed. And like I say, those are things that kind of go on that really nobody sees, but it's just really important that we do that. And like I say, that's our main artery of all our water coming in. As I mentioned earlier, the current grant from Okra will go, part of it's going to go to some upgrades out there at the plant, along with fire hydrants and things like that we want to replace. Basically, on the fire hydrants in 2017, we want to at least do 2 a month. So, you know, we get started on some systematic program of replacing these hydrants that are not working and things of that nature. So we do have some plans in place there that we have some systematic fixes for. Our street department, I'm glad to announce to date we have 34.75 miles of streets repaved in Brazil. So it's great to see that, and that's going to continue on. Like I say, we've got over $1 million to spend on that in the future. We're trying to upgrade equipment in the city. You may notice it as you see the guys out working with new, whether it's pickup trucks, dump trucks. We just bought a new chipper that we can go out and chip up all the limbs and things like that that we pick up, which is a service that's provided here in Brazil that is very valuable to us. So these guys are pretty busy. You got to remember that's a 6-man department, and so they got a lot to do with 6 guys, but they really do a great job, and it's not always, they're not recognized very much, but these guys are really tremendous in what they do. We just got to get them the tools to work with. It's really difficult to do some of these tasks without the tools. We used that Durapatcher a lot last year. It's out now, and it's just like the new streets. You know, Brian Bemis, our road commissioner, he's already got plans out to seal any cracks in the new roads and things like that, so we'll maintain them. In our wastewater, we've been very busy. In new sanitary sewer line, we've done over 7,800 feet with 18 new manholes, 17 rehabbed. As you know, we had a pretty large project out on the west end of town on putting in a lot larger lines out there to service that area. And really, that's all about promoting growth out there. You know, we have to have utilities stretched out here for places to come in and business and industry to look at it. The sanitary on, like I say, we've done over 7,000 feet of line. Storm sewer, we've done over 4,000 feet of line and increased the number of catch basins and inlets to 68 more. So that's all about helping control flooding, which has always been a problem here in our city. So that's been addressed in a lot of ways, and we've had quite a reduction in the amount of flooding and where it's happening at. Line locates, we're called out, you know, to do line locates if anyone's digging, and that's a pretty busy job. There's about 3,000 line locates done last year, so that keeps someone busy right there in itself. Brazil Parks. There's a lot going on over at the parks. They've really working very hard at creating some new things and activities and upkeep. One thing that's you're going to see happen here in 2017, it's one of our main projects, is doing a drainage program over there in the center of the park where we all know the carnival sets up for many, many years, and it tends to rain every time they come in, so we drag them in and out. And we do have the money identified to do it, and we've also got our people can install the lines and do the catch basins, and there's going to be drainage all put in out there, and then a road built, kind of in a horseshoe, that will allow people to walk on and stuff, and hopefully we don't have those muddy messes and things over there in the future. I want to thank Rotary for every year they put on that show. It's been going on a long time. And Frank Phillips, the president of Rotary, they kind of brought this up, the idea of doing it, and even offered to help in it in different ways. And the more I thought about that, I think, you know, that's really the city's responsibility to furnish them a venue that they've used for 60-some years. So we want to make it a little nicer for them and user-friendly, and we appreciate it, Frank, for all you guys do. The park's also working on out of Craig Park. It's a little bit of an undeveloped park, as you know, and there's been some camping sites created out there for primitive camping at this point, and we look to move forward with that in the future of doing some camping sites out there that have hookups and things like that available. Most of you know there's a new softball diamond out there for girls softball league, so there's good projects going on within the park. One of the amazing figures, and everybody knows we've always fought vandalism in our parks. Here's a number that'll blow you away, I think. We spent $75 last year on vandalism repair. That's how much that's down. And there's good reasons for that. One, as we've seen a lot of improvements in things, there's a lot more pride taken in it. And you have people that's actually policing it for us. And they're taking more pride in these community projects and things like that. But that was a phenomenal number, because our vandalism cost was in the thousands, literally. And we do have, you know, someone watching over there more so now, but still, that's just a great number. I was so delighted to see that. And, like I say, that's far above what I expected to see when our cost. We always do a cost factor on that. To give you a little idea on where we stand as a city financially, 2015 in our cash balance, we had just a shade over $2 million. To date, when we finished up this year, we were at 2.2 million. So we gained about 200,000 there. And I'll tell you who we can credit for that is these department heads that we got out here working very hard, and they've done a great job. They come in under budget, and that's difficult to do nowadays with the rising cost of everything. So we really got some great people in a great place to handle those kind of things. And it's great to see an uptick, you know, in our cash flow. A lot of communities can't say that. Fact is, probably not many at all. But like I say, that's due to the fact of who we've got out there in these supervised positions, that they are very diligent at what they do. So 2017 of projects I'd like to see move forward. Obviously our street paving, and one that personally I have on my agenda, I guess, is sidewalks. We need to start in our sidewalks. Once we get kind of streets going, then we need to start working our way out from that. One we're going to probably look at very seriously is what I call the Jackson Street corridor, from 40 to Vandalia Street. On both sides there, we need sidewalks there. Those are probably as much used as the ones on US 40, with a lot of the housing and things that's down there at that end. And you know, that's the way they travel to their shops, groceries and things like that. So I think it's important that we do that. Actually, we did receive a grant to work on the curb cuts. We turned it back because after all the dust was clear, our match would have cost us more than what we can do it just on our own. So there's things we can handle on our own, and we have some money in place to attack that. So our sidewalks is something we want to work on, and curbs. I think we need to do it more in corridors opposed to going out here and patching 2 or 3 feet or 4 feet of sidewalks. It needs to be done, if you're going to do a block. But that's one corridor that we really want to see happen. So that's something I hopefully will see this year. And along with the blacktopping projects, a lot of our service groups, Main Street, Rotary, a lot of these organizations, they all have their own projects that they'll continue to do, because I think people see that there's just a lot of movement in Brazil. I get that a lot. I hear it a lot from other cities around us, that it's just, well, there's a lot going on over at Brazil, and we're really tickled to see that. You know, my goal is just we want to keep feeding that hopper all the time with projects. Some of them's going to work, some of them's going to stick, some of them won't. But we want to keep that effort going all along. And I should mention, before we got away from it here, our golf course, our representatives are over here. Troy has done a fantastic job over there. We got one of the nicest. I'd put that golf course up against any in this state for a community our size. It really is, Troy. And, there was a time they were having financial difficulty. They've literally turned that around, paid off a lot of debt. Their clubhouse debt, I think, is cleared up now, and they're on the road to success. And it's due to these guys sitting right over here that made that happen, and all the dedication they put into it. We appreciate that, guys. It's fun to be a part of a lot of this. You know, as far as being mayor, you know, it's really something that it's been great. I mean, we hope to continue on things that we're doing. I think we're prospering. I think we're heading in the right direction, and other communities see us, and I think it draws things here to see that happen. So appreciate everyone here and everything you do, because really at the end of the day, guys, you're all the ones that make it happen, you know, when it really comes down to it. And I can't thank you enough for making my job really pretty easy when it comes to that. You know, people used to ask me a lot on going into this type of position, all the headaches and things like that. And I'll be the first one, and I've said this to a lot of people, I don't have them. And there's a reason I don't have them, because, you know, there's so many people out there helping alleviate that, and we don't have the problems here that a lot of communities have. You know, and if we do have them, we address them. You know, the last thing we're going to do as an administration is ignore anybody. And I think that's important. We've got to be good listeners, good stewards of the community. And I want to thank you and the chamber and everyone that's helped out here today, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.